Welcome to Worlds Collide, a wrestling card podcast for wrestling fans by wrestling fans, featuring Tony Vella from WrestlingTradingCards.com.
This is like a stock market.
And Zhan Morning from Wrestling with Cards on YouTube. And I'm not saying there's a right or wrong answer, I'm just posing the question. Join them as they navigate the world of wrestling cards, helping you build a bigger and better collection and making some money along the way. What's up, wrestling fans and trading card collectors? Welcome to another episode of Worlds Collide. We made it back again 2 weeks in a row. You know, it's like those how many days have you had since the last accident? Like, that's how many we have to keep tallying if we missed a week, because we hate doing that, but you know, it is what it is. Tony, how you doing?
Good, man. I know it's been so busy. I know you've been busy. And hey, first off, congratulations on the 1,000 subscribers now on
Thank you.
On YouTube with Wrestling with Cards, man. That's an achievement, and you know, that's awesome. I love to see that.
Can't wait to see the WTC channel one day at that. Adam and Ryan have been doing such a great job of bringing new faces, even some people I don't know, bringing them to your channel, and just great information, great informative content. And you spoke about being busy, and you actually mentioned this to me yesterday. We both of us been so busy that I didn't even realize we're coming up on that 1 year anniversary of Panini taking over the WWE license, and it's been a madhouse. So we're just going to kind of spitball some general conversation around that today. And I know it was your idea, and you said you had a lot to say, so I'd really like to hear what you have to say.
No, I mean, yesterday was it when I came up with the idea to talk about it. One, it was just seeing some stuff on social media that reminded me that we're coming up on the 1 year anniversary. And then two was just some personal stuff that was kind of irritating me. So I really, that was yesterday. Today's a whole new day now, recordings like that. So I think we just can have a general conversation about our thoughts about this past year of Panini stuff. You know, I know the good, the bad, the ugly kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny that we've talked about the shows where you send me an idea and I put it in the notes, and sometimes we just go on and on and on and on and on about it, and it's a great show. And then others ones like going back to our show about the animals on cards, like, where is this going to go? We have no idea. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So we'll see how this one goes. Let's start with the good. Like, what do you think in my opinion, this has been like the biggest explosion. And I kind of want to tie Upper Deck in with this, but maybe, you know, not. I don't know. In my opinion, the Panini takeover has been one of the biggest explosions in wrestling card segment, from pricing, from a card quality release standpoint, as far as like higher end stuff, from collectors actually coming in and wanting these new products. I don't feel like we saw that as much with Topps. So one good thing, I think, from Panini is just the explosion that we've seen within wrestling cards. But what do you think?
I agree. I think that's the case too. You know, Panini brings its own brand of collectors in across all their properties. So it was we knew in the beginning that this was going to be a big thing. You know, I've always used the term good, bad, or indifferent. You know, it still brought a lot of eyeballs to the product. You know, I've said it before that we just wanted to be acknowledged when it came to wrestling cards, and we certainly got acknowledged. Now, with that acknowledgement, it comes a lot of you know, ups and downs, disagreements, and that's expected. You know. And that's a whole different conversation, but all in all, I think it's been good for the hobby in the sense that we've got more collectors now than ever collecting wrestling cards, and wrestling cards are not something you would walk around at a show or to somebody and not really want to mention it, like, oh, I collect wrestling cards.
Yeah,
you know, no, I don't think people are afraid to say that anymore now.
Nope.
And it's good too, because, you know, wrestling is always about nostalgia. Wrestling's always about, you know, those memories. And I don't think any other license or any other property can do that for you. And that's just my belief. You know, I mean, I'm sure there's diehard baseball fans out there like, well,
well, honestly, you say that, and the only thing that comes to mind besides wrestling is Pokemon. Like,
yeah,
that's
I mean,
just
so. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's just a passion hobby. For some of us for a long time, and so it's nice to see a lot of people come in here, and I think Panini did that. Now, I don't know if it's a combination of also Panini and what it as a company what it brings to our hobby, to the product, or the fact that, oh, hey, it's been so many years that Topps has had this license. It's just nice and refreshing to see somebody new have it now. I don't know if that's part of it too, but I think most of it is just the fact of what Panini brings to the table when it comes to the product.
Yeah, going back to talking about the shows you mentioned, like you'll see a picture at a card show, be it national, be it Dallas, these big card shows that are always like pumped from all these influencers and sports card guys. And all of a sudden you'll start seeing random all-stars, random
Yeah.
Prism Gold thrown in there with their Jordans and their Kobe's and their Mantles.
Oh yeah.
And like, even if it's just one or two cards, I think that's huge, especially because it shows off, hey, there's actually super high-end wrestling cards being produced now. That,
Yeah.
we had that before with some vintage stuff, and then Transcendent, and there's still a huge collector base around that, and prices are there too. But with some of this other stuff coming out now, Panini's just kind of blew the roof off wrestling cards, in my opinion. So I think that's great. More collectors. I think there's been some quality control issues, but for the most part, I think they're putting out probably one of the best quality products that we've ever seen from a visual standpoint. And look at some of the relics that have come out that are just unbelievable. The way that they've taken time to do either a logo man or, like Matt Riddle's flip flop in the card. Like, that's just, they're actually taking time and putting wrestling centric stuff in the wrestling product. Sure, it might be like a copy and paste from maybe a design standpoint, but I think that's also what is bringing in more people. Is they know Prism, they know Impeccable, Immaculate, National Treasures. Like, they know these things, and they're like, I collect that in sports. I want my Rock or my Hogan or my Steve Austin or Alexa Bliss or whoever. They want that in that same type of card now, as you stated, because Panini has their own type of collectors. People have had these certain product lines for so long, and they see that, oh, wrestling's got that now, I got to get in. So you have any comments as far as like the quality control, product style type, anything like that?
No, I love all that thing you just said about that. It's just especially this last release they put out. It's just very well thought out and done. It's just aesthetically pleasing for sure.
Yes.
But going back to shows and stuff like that, going to the National last year, even in that halfway point, from when Panini got the license and to where we are now, it was nice to see a lot of guys there had stuff in their cases like that. They had color blast cards. They had some Japanese cards, old school Japanese Andre the Giant. Or it was just nice to see a good variety out there that typically you wouldn't see. I mean, it's been a long time since I frequented card shows on a regular basis, especially as someone who sat up at one for a good decade. But that's what I consider Little Frankenstein anyways, a card show. So it was just nice to see that there was a good number of people out there that were carrying wrestling cards. So it just shows you how far it's come, and that has a lot to do with Panini. It really does. It has a lot to do with that. They bring some exciting products to the table, and that's the Prism Boys and whoever else would come running to our hobby. It's just, again, putting more eyeballs in the product, and that's kind of what we want to see our hobby grow. Yeah, so I got that. I had another thought, but I can't remember what the hell it was.
We mentioned Topps earlier, and you said that you thought that maybe this was just kind of the new car smell for wrestling cards because we're so used to Topps. And I agree to a certain extent, which we'll talk about. I have something that's kind of like in the somewhat negative that I want to talk about with that. But when I look at Topps products outside of a handful, they fail in comparison to what Panini is putting out, and it's not because they're bad product, because I think there's a lot of like Finest, Chrome, Transcendent, a lot of that stuff is excellent, and I still look back at it, and I'll still go back and buy the cross stuff I need from Topps, and I look back at the 14 and 15 Chrome releases and look at the prices on those. I mean, you cannot deny that those are higher end cards. They're sought after, the golds and the one of ones and all that. And then we've started seeing the Chrome Heritage Superfractors out of 25 or some that aren't numbered. We started seeing popularity in those. So there are really good Topps products out there, but it just seems like for the longest time, they would put out all of these, like, I'll call them filler, like the
Then Now Forever.
Then Now Forever. Women's division, Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're not, I don't feel like we're seeing that with Panini, because even like Chronicles, like if you want to talk about even their lowest end product, which I would say would probably be the
NXT.
2022 NXT,
Yeah,
people
yeah.
are still going out and looking for rookie cards in there and putting together
Yep.
the set. And yeah, it just seems like there's so much more momentum from and maybe that's the new collectors coming in, because maybe people just got sick of the top stuff and they're like, it's just the same thing all the time. But Panini's doing something different, so now I want back in. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just kind of what I've seen.
Yeah, I think there's some level of truth to that too. That's why this year is going to be interesting to see what year two is going to,
Yeah.
how that's going to translate into sales, how it's going to translate into desirability of the product. Like, okay, I've seen Prism before. Do I want to get myself involved in that? I mean, obviously, we've all learned a very valuable lesson on that Prism stuff, and I'm hoping that people, have learned their lessons like that. But Revolution was a great product, and Select was an amazing product, and Chronicles was a wonderful best of product. What do we expect to see from these things going forward? That's what's going to be interesting to see. Do we continue this momentum? That people are like, hey, this is cool stuff still, like it's different from Tops, and I'm still interested in it. But I'm excited to see it. I mean, I'm still sitting on some boxes back here from every release they've put out so far, that Panini's put out, just sitting, with the exception of Prism. I never got any of that, but just because I just want to sit on it. But I'm still interested in what they put out and how people react to it. There's clearly still a market for it. Wrestling card prices on in general seem to still be holding pretty steady. Obviously, we're in a very down market across the board in collectibles at period, but wrestling seems to hold its own. And maybe we're not seeing a 30% dip, 40% dip like other places are. We're probably seeing a 15-20% dip.
Right.
But it's just I'm just throwing out random numbers, by the way, people. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. And so it's
come
just,
on, Tony. I thought you were an expert.
Oh no, I'd never once have I professed that. Don't care what anybody says.
Come on, Tony. You've got a website and a platform. You're an expert.
Oh no.
Tony the influencer.
I'm just an influencer. That's exactly right. Yeah, my ass. So I just I've in general, I've been very happy with Panini and what they've been doing. It's got me back into collecting. I'll tell you that much. It's got me back into collecting. And I wasn't doing that with Topps products, and not to say it's because of Topps products. Maybe it's just a timing issue. Maybe it's also because that came during the end of a pandemic time frame. I was looking for something different. I was getting more heavily involved into the community again by updating the website and doing the podcasting thing and talking and trying to educate and just trying to be more interactive. And while I'm in it, hey, you know what? Let's just jump back into doing some collecting again. But of course, I'm not collecting the way I used to collect, and I'm having much more fun collecting the way I collect now, being a Loomis collector, an Angle collector. So a lot of different factors into, how I perceive the market these days. My perception is different from other people's perceptions, I'm sure, but and I think a lot of it has to do with the excitement and the quality of stuff that Panini has put out too.
One thing that you mentioned is like, what do we have to look forward to, and what are they going to do? Well, we're just a couple of months into this year, and as of recording, we just saw today that they're putting kabooms in Revolution, which was seen by many as kind of the first round of Revolution last year was a huge hit for wrestling collectors, but many saw it outside of the Galactics. Many who know sports cards and Panini products looked at this as, well, it's kind of a mid-tier to lower tier release. But now the price, I'm interested to see what happens with the prices of those boxes, because people are going to be kaboom hunting, like, especially and it's frustrating for me because like I see that rock and I'm like, man, I want that card so bad. But then I know what those prices are going to be like, even for like a non-paralleled version, if they have those like they do traditionally. And I'm just like, could I take that money and could I buy that rock, or do I take that money and go buy like 2 or 3 of the signed all-stars that I don't have, or more carrying cross that, I would say Panini has made it fun and frustrating for me at the same time.
Yeah. You mentioned the Galactics, man. I telling you, people, collectors out there, you guys are sleeping on Galactics. You really are.
A lot of people have been saying that.
You just don't understand how difficult those things are to come by. They really are hard. And because they're not numbered, people just assume like that they're just something, like,
Right.
it's not a big deal. Like, lava, on the parallels isn't the end all be all number to 10, man. It just isn't the end all be all there. Galactic is where it's at. And in the long term, those are the money cards, man. And right now, outside of you'll see names, you'll see the Roman Reigns, and you'll see, The Rock, you'll see, even go down to like Kevin Nash and like that. You'll see those dudes decently well price point wise. There's a lot out there, dude. You can get for under $20, under $15.
Right.
It's ridiculous. But I don't think we're going to see that with the kabooms, because now again, you've got a built-in collector base who understand outside of wrestling, that understand what kabooms are. And even to someone like me who doesn't collect that kind of stuff, obviously I don't collect sports, but I have enough knowledge of the hobby to understand and know the significance of that particular brand and that name. That it's going to bring people into our hobby who don't know anything about wrestling cards probably, but they want to come in and either buy them up or sell them or whatever. It's going to bring eyeballs on the product, whether it be eyeballs that came over from Prism or brand new ones who don't, it's going to be, it's going to be electrifying.
Literally.
Literally. I'm excited about it.
Me too.
I just hope I don't have to worry about a Loomis one.
That's the thing. And I talked about it before, that when they put out the Prism sell sheet, they used Cross as the poster boy for the black 1 of 1 Prisms. And I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. Like, I'm going to have to spend
listens to you. Someone listens to you and goes, I got to put that out there just for that guy.
Yeah. So, I'm excited, even though, my wallet and bank account might not be excited. I'm excited for it to even the stuff I don't collect. Like, when you get involved, like I love seeing people collect other things and the types of cards that come out. Like, I don't collect Matt Riddle. I don't collect Rhea Ripley, but when I saw all those interesting relics coming out for, talents like that, or Roman Reigns, it's just great. So,
I'm generally excited for collectors out there who are who get excited and are proud of for the sense of accomplishment they've done of completing a rainbow, or getting a partial rainbow, or getting that 1 of 1 card, or that numbered card they really wanted, or I'm really excited to see people's posts about that stuff. It's just nice and exciting to see people getting excited about their hobby and the collection. And that's what it's all about. It's really about having fun. We talk about it over and over again. And despite negativity and despite bickerings that go online all the time, at the end of the day, I really want to see people have fun and have the excitement of finishing a collection, completing a base set, completing a chase set, completing an autograph run. I don't care what it is. And I think that there's so much variations in what Panini puts out. You're talking to a guy. I'm a guy who despises parallels. Parallels are what got me out of collecting. Really, it's really what it came down to. As a master set collector, it's what got me out of collecting. And now here I am loving parallels because I think it adds an extra level, an extra depth of ways to collect. And people are having fun with it. And I think it's just a lot of fun out there. And that's what Panini has provided, I think, for me, more than anything else. I think Panini has provided our hobby. I don't say our hobby like we own it. Let me be very clear about Tony. That.
You own it.
There's no one person in this hobby. I don't give a shit what people say. It provided something for us in the hobby that we never had before, which is all these levels of ways to collect and interesting, cool ways to collect outside of the norms of just base sets, things like that. Just like, I'm only collecting. I mean, there's some guys out there, I only collect lavas. That's all. I want all the lavas from Evolution. There's just so many different ways, and Panini offers that for you. It's like that. And when you look at it from that mindset, you're never out of the game. You're never out of collecting. Sure, maybe as a set collector, it's not, as easy as it once was. But look at some of these guys. Paul Anand from Wrestling Card Price Guide, guys, you could check out the website, please. It's a very informative site. He thought he was out of the game being a set collector, and yet he's found a way. Life. finds a way. uh, he's found a way to go out there and get some really impressive sets. I mean,
Yeah.
Chronicles, he got 400 cards. The first 400,
Yeah,
that's pretty
and
impressive.
here I thought he wasn't going to touch it, and he's
No,
already made it that far.
yeah, I mean, I think he did no, did he do Spectrum? I mean, he did Immaculate. I mean, he's gone out of his way. Now, it's not the normal way he's used to doing it, and it's probably been very frustrating for him, I'm sure. But at the end of the day, he's got it, and I'm sure he's sitting
Right.
back going, I'm proud of it, man. And I'm proud of him for doing it. And it's just you just got to kind of change the way you're going to collect. And I don't think it's a bad thing. Yeah, are the days of you calling up your distributor and saying, "Hey, I want the complete master run," that's done. You're kind of done with that for the most part. I mean, NXT 2.0 probably pretty easy to put together. Revolution might be a little bit more difficult because
Prism's pretty easy to put together. Big
Prism's pretty
set,
easy to put
but
together. Yeah,
easy to put
yeah, big
together.
set. Yeah, I mean, but for the most part, it's not as easy as it was before. You just can't call your guy up against like that and say, you can't call your dealer up and say, "Man, give me my fix. I need my whole set." And it's like, "No, sir, I gotta sell to you in grams now. I can't sell to you." So it's just it's fun. I think us collectors who have always collected are going to find ways to keep going forward with it. I know some days it can be frustrating, but by and large, I think it's been fun.
I think it's been awesome and refreshing to see people that have come in, and there's such a variety of Panini products that they offer for, Shinsuke Nakamura or Dewdrop or
Oh yeah.
Grayson Waller or whoever it is. And then all of a sudden they're like, okay, well, this is my collector now and I'm going after this. But then they start going back to the top stuff. And the fact that they get, like, I'll see people get so excited over like a rookie card parallel that may be a $5 card.
Yeah.
To me, that's refreshing because we're so used to being inundated with Prism Golds, All Stars, all these high end, really rare autographs. And some people, I think that kind of turns them off because they're either like, I can't find them or I can't afford them. So, whatever, that's your own prerogative. But when I see them get that same level of excitement that these high end diehard collectors get with like a base rookie card or a base auto card or something, like, sky's the limit for our hobby.
But that's a side effect of what Panini's brought to the table, I think, as well, is that it's pushed people to go back to tops and back to older stuff. I mean, depending on what kind of wrestler you're collecting, hell, it might even push you back to Fleer era.
Right.
Might even push you back to Comic Images era, for all we know.
It could.
I mean, it's pushing people back to something they didn't collect before and going and finding that in that dollar box, and finding that Stone Cold Steve Austin from 98 Superstars, finding that, William Regal card from WrestleMania from Fleer in 2001. It's pushing people back to go back and say, hey, I've got that gold parallel from WrestleMania Fleer sets like that, and that I found it. It's cool because something that they were collecting in Panini.
Right.
Panini's pushed people into like going backwards a little bit, and I think that's what's caused top stuff to go up in value because people are going back. Hey, these 2014 Chromes, because when they came out, they weren't anything overly special. I mean, it was just another Chrome release by Topps. And then over time now, it's become like the release to get, from the modern era. And then even that's like, well, I'm going back to 2006 Chrome now at Heritage Chrome, getting some of those stuff out of there. So it's got a nice ripple effect into the hobby.
Definitely.
Of going backwards and picking stuff up too, which is just, it brings, all ships rise, man.
Right. So I think overall Panini has done positives, but there's probably, do you have any negatives? Like we, in my opinion, I'll just go first. You can pick and choose.
Yeah, and let's not go heavily deep into this because this is not supposed to be something that's going to be bashing anything or anyone when it comes to talking about negatives in this, because this product alone, for everything that we talked about is good, has also brought something that's bad.
Right, but I'm just talking from a product standpoint. Like their quality control, you can kind of question their, redemptions. Like, and I know a lot of people aren't fans of those. You can nitpick all that stuff you want, but in my opinion, you're going to have that with about any trading. I mean, look what we did with Topps. We had plenty of problems with Topps. So you can.
Yeah, and the redemption aspect of it, by the way, I don't buy anybody's opinion about like, you're never going to get those. Yeah, I'm sorry to say
People are
this.
getting them.
I'm going to be very blunt. You're full of shit. We are getting them, and we are already seeing that already now. And wrestling's a different beast. What your experiences were, if you're a collector who collects other things in other sports, and you're used to baseball, basketball, football, and those redemptions taking years to get to you or never getting fulfilled, that's just not the normal case for wrestling. Wrestling is a different beast about everything. Everything about wrestling is different. Everything from what it is to its collectability to everything. It's different. So, there's many opportunities for the company to get a lot of that talent in the same room at the same time, or in an event or whatever it may be, and get them to sign things. And we're already seeing that from, the current release of things getting fulfilled already, very, very quickly. And with WrestleMania, coming around the corner, I don't know when this episode is going to drop, but it's probably going to be around the same time. There's going to be a lot of names there that just like, boom, 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 knock them all out, and you're gonna probably see those things getting fulfilled within weeks of that too. So, wrestling is just different. Not everything can be a parallel to something else in other sports like that, because wrestling is different. So we have ideas, we have potentials, we have, when we talk about, when Adam and Ryan put out their upcoming episode, like, hey, we have our first taste of what such and such might look like based on the current football release or the current whatever release. These are speculations, and typically it works around the same way. But again, wrestling is different. It doesn't fall in the same realm as everything else, especially when we're talking about redemption. So I don't like redemptions more than anybody else. I mean, I don't know why guys are paying top dollars for old Fleer product that has like autographs, because it was all done by redemption people.
Yeah, and they're going to be
for the most
expired.
part. Yep. But I mean, that is a negative. My biggest negative is the division that's caused because people just don't like Panini, whatever it was. Prism set the stage in a very weird way for us. It really did. I mean, we saw and some people, hyped it up to like this monumental thing, and it dropped nosedive. And Paul and I have done our monthly recaps every month, and we've kept that product on our monthly recap just to kind of see where it's gone. And it came way, way, way. I mean, people who bought big time on that, they lost a lot of money. And while I don't like to see people lose money, I'm also not in control of people's wallets. They bought because they felt something on what they wanted to buy, whether it be because of hype. At the end of the day, no one put a gun to someone's head and said, "You're buying this for $1,000 or else." That's what they chose to do. Like, you know what? I'm buying into this hype. I should get it. I should get it. I should get it. You know what? My house isn't in a very good neighborhood. Maybe I shouldn't have bought that house. No one's telling me what I should and should not do with my money.
Well, it's also not Panini's fault that the community reacted like this.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, there are people who did hype it up, and are you going to listen to everybody all the time? But I'm not going to get into that kind of stuff. I just,
I'll be completely transparent here. I hyped it up, and I'm still hyping it up because I believe that anything golds, one of ones, the gold shimmers out of 3, like all the stuff that's like super low end parallels. If you look on, there's a Rock PSA 10, I think it's a shimmer gold out of 3 or something like that. It's on Golden right now, and it's those prices continue to go up. It's that I think a lot of people that got into Prism thought that everything was going to be like that, which isn't the case, and it's never the case. And that's
what you saw people trying to take advantage of that, trying to sell a base card for 25, 30, 50, 40 bucks, whatever it was. And they're basically 50-cent cards because they printed the hell out of that product.
Right.
I mean, for all I know, somebody else out there is doing what I do for Impel and still printing that stuff. And so that's what I think. But at the end of the day, as a product, it still brought what we wanted, which was the eyeballs on our hobby. And here we are a year later, and I think we are a bigger hobby than we were a year ago, and that's a good thing. And I like that we can actually have a casual conversation with anybody about cards, and we're not afraid to talk about wrestling cards. And I think that's where we're at now, which is a really good thing.
That's all I could ask for. I mean, sure, we want to see the prices and popularity, but that may never get there, and that's okay. But the fact that we're like peers with anybody else, whether it's
Sure.
basketball, baseball, football, Pokemon, F1, like everybody, in my opinion, from a, hey, there's cards for these things perspective, we're all kind of on the level playing field now. And
Yeah.
I think everybody kind of gets it now.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Anything else you want to touch on with Panini before we get out of here today? I just think, we don't, sky's the limit. We don't have a lot of years left with them. We have a handful, and I think they're going to do the best that they possibly can. A lot of people want to poke holes in them, and that's fine. You can poke holes in any company. You can poke holes in any community's reaction to anything that comes out. It just is what it is. But I think ultimately, at the end of the day, I think they put out great products for collectors, and people are having fun doing it. And what else matters?
That's right. The fun is always the thing that I'm trying to push more and more. Is I want to be very clear about it's a hobby. We're supposed to have fun. If you're in it for investment purposes, and I can't really have a whole lot to say for you about that, good luck. But at the end of the day, it's about fun, and that's what the hobby is supposed to be about: collecting. People are always going to complain about affordability, and that's never been
Sure.
something that's gone away. So it's always going to be there. Even back in the top days, it's always like,
right.
I mean, people bitch and complain about a $80 box of wrestling, but it's wrestling. It should be cheap. It should be for free. It's like, no, it's not how it works, guys. But
Right.
I like where we're at, as a hobby, from the cardboard standpoint of it. It's unfortunate the community has gotten to where it is at some point in times like that, but I think for the most part, we kind of all know where our lanes are at and how we're, going forward. And I'm going to continue to have fun. I like what I'm doing. I like the fun that I'm having. I'm going to focus 2023 for me to be really just kind of, I'm going to focus really heavy on my Loomis collection, and I'm going to be focusing really heavy on making WTC the best that it can possibly be to help collectors going forward. There's a lot of stuff going on that's happening in the hobby, and we want to try to continue to keep being a resource for people to, help them out with their collections. And that's kind of what I want to focus on. Obviously I have the store that I'm running here in Phoenix, Arizona. There's a lot going on with that too. A lot going on. And some things are going to be coming up for that as well. So it's just it's going to be a good year. I think it's going to be a good year. I'm going to do the best that I can to make sure that I have a good year.
Yeah, ultimately it's up to us to have our own fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can get frustrated with products, you can get frustrated with affordability, you can get frustrated with community, but ultimately if you're not able to have fun out of this within your own self, like, who cares? Like, what are you doing? You pretty much hit on everything else. Is there anything else as far as like what you've got coming up? Let everybody know where they can find you, all that kind of stuff as we get out of here.
Well, I got the Wrestling Guy store here in Phoenix like that. So you can go to wgsphx.com if you are interested in that. Not a whole lot on the website right now. I know we got, well, by the time this comes out, he already had been here, but we got Brian Clark, Adam Baum will be here this Saturday. And then card number 2 in the series will be a part of that as well.
Nice.
And then there's some cool stuff coming out. I know that Bo J from Pro Wrestling Junkies announced a new card coming out that I'm happy to have helped take part in.
Awesome.
And we're kind of working on the final details of all that stuff, but it'll be out in early, late summer. It'll be coming out. But check him out for his stuff. And then everything's on WrestlingTradingCards.com. All of our social media handles are on the bottom of every single page. That's how you can get a hold of us, man. And how about you?
Wrestling with Cards on YouTube. As you said earlier, it may seem minuscule in the grand scheme of things to a lot of people, but hitting that 1,000 sub mark for me, when I look back at all the, times of being frustrated or being super positive or negative or whatever, like, creating content has just been so much fun. Again, what we're doing right here, like, we would not be doing this, taking the time out of our own day, if we didn't think this was fun and a resource for people. And that's kind of how I've started viewing the YouTube channel. So if you want some entertaining, insightful, or if you want to just come bash me, I'm okay with that. Wrestling with Cards on YouTube, Wrestling with Cards, the podcast. You can find all my social links and everything Tony talked about in the show notes below of this video or this podcast, however you're listening or viewing. Whatever you're doing for WTC YouTube channel, this podcast, my YouTube channel, please hit subscribe, give us a like, give us a review, and share. That's what Panini did. Panini put a spotlight on, hey, here is wrestling products. Here's what you can collect. And that's kind of what we're trying to do with our content. So if you know somebody that's collecting anything or a wrestling fan that's not collecting yet, share the show with them, share some wrestling cards with them, just get them involved. And ultimately, you know, we'll just keep putting out content, hopefully, and keep having fun with everything we've got. So one last thing before we get out of here. Some people may not say that Panini rules because they've got a bias against them. But I think Tony has an opinion about wrestling cards in general.
If I had
Tony, I think there's an account that actually stole this title from you and created an Instagram and Twitter account out of it.
Oh, man, those bastards. Well, I don't care because at the end of the day, wrestling cards rule.
Ding, ding, ding. We're out of here.